Howdy, 8th grade. Today we're going to look more at factoring. If you can't tell, this is kind of a big deal. So how we're going to look at it today is actually we're using this technique called grouping. So we can factor, for the first time ever, some four-term polynomials. So if you see a four-term polynomial, what you'll want to do is to try to group it. And the way these things work is a little bit tricky, but I'm very excited to show you guys how we're going to do it. And I'm going to start just with an example, because I feel like an example would be the best way to do this. So here is my example. If I have 2x squared plus 4xy, that shouldn't be squared, that should be a y. There we go. Plus 7x plus 14y. What I'm going to want to be able to see is that these two terms have common factors, and these two terms also have common factors. And what that means I can do is I can pull out those common factors and then kind of look at what I want to do with this again after I've done that. So my 2x squared and my 4x, I can pull a 2 out of, and I can pull an x out of. So these are going to come down here and become 2x times, and to get to 2x squared, we'd have to multiply 2x by x, plus, and to get to 4xy, I need an extra 2 in there. 2 times 2 is 4. I already have my x taken care of here, so I still need a y. Then we're going to add on the next bit, and I can take out a 7. I think that's all I can take out. So 7 times x is 7x, and 7 times 2y is 14y. And if we look at what happened, I'm hoping we have kind of a exclamation mark going off. If we look at what happened, we've got these two parts that are the same. So these are the same. And that is very, very important if we're trying to group by factoring, is that those two things end up being exactly the same. So what I can do now is use my distributive property and just factor out the 2x and the 7. So I'll end up with 2x plus 7 from here and there. And that would be multiplied by x plus 2y, which is this last part. And this is my factored equation. So to show you guys that this works, I'm going to FOIL it very, very quickly. My first is going to be 2x times x, which is 2x squared. Outer is 2x times 2y, which is 4xy. Inner is 7 and x. And my last is 7 and 2y, which is 14y, which gives me 2x squared plus 4xy plus 7x plus 14y, which is right there. So if we do this correctly, it should FOIL very nicely right back out to what we started with. So sometimes it's not quite this easy to do this trick. I want to give you guys maybe a little bit of a harder example where the terms aren't already set up the way that we want. So if I have 3y squared minus 8y cubed minus 8y plus 3. So I can kind of see some patterns here. I see an 8 and a 3 both places. And then I have y squared, y cubed, y, and we can call this a y to the 0 power just for fun. So this would be a y to the first. Y to the 0 is just 1, so it doesn't actually do anything. But if we're looking at this, we want to try to figure out a way that we can group these. So we want to group them in ways that have a common factor. So I'm going to keep my 3y squared out front and move my plus 3y to the 0 over here. And then I'm going to have left my negative 8y cubed and negative 8y to the first. So I'm going to add negative 8y cubed minus 8y to the first. And then I'm going to see what I can factor out. So this first one's fairly obvious. I can factor out a 3 and the y to the 0 if I wanted, but really that doesn't do much. So 3 and 3 times y squared is going to be that. Plus, and 3 times y to the 0 is 3y to the 0, but y to the 0 is just 1. Put that one right there. And now I'm going to have plus, and over here I can take out a negative 8, and I can also take out a y to the first. So that's what I'm going to do. Negative 8y to the first. And what I have is, what I have left from this first term is going to be y squared. So negative 8y times y squared is negative 8y cubed. And I'm going to add, rather, since I took out the negative, plus 1, because 1 times negative 8y to the first is negative 8y to the first. And if we look, this and this are the same, which make me happy, because what I can do now is have 3 minus 8y times y squared plus 1. So I just move this down to here and take these two terms and group them together inside my other parentheses, and that's going to be the new way I'm going to factor. So sometimes we also have a greatest common factor from all the terms that we can factor out. So I want to show you guys an example with that. Greatest common factor. Awesome. And what this example is going to look like is 45a cubed b minus 15a cubed plus 15a squared b minus 5a squared. And what I want to do first is look at this, and I can recognize that all of these are divisible by 5. All of these have two a's in them. So I can just take that out. So I'm going to start by taking out my 5a squared and just kind of see what's left. So to get from 5a squared to 45a cubed b, 5 times 9 is 45, so that needs to go there. And a squared times ab is a cubed b. And I'm just going to keep going. So 5a squared to get to 15a cubed would be multiplying by 3a. To get from 5a squared to 15a squared b, I need to multiply by 3b. And then I'm going to have to multiply this last term by a negative 1. So it is a little hard to tell what exactly we should be factoring out here. There's a few different ways to do it. I'm going to show you guys one of them. So what I would do is leave it exactly how it is, keep the 5a squared out of the way, and then group my first two terms together. So when I do that, I'm going to have 9ab minus 3a grouped together, and then plus 3b minus 1. So this first term here, I can take out a 3a, and what happens when I do that, make sure I have the right number of parentheses there, awesome, is I'm going to take my 3a out, and 3a to get to 9ab, 3 times 3 is 9, I already have my a taken care of, I need my b, then minus 1, I'm going to add 3b minus 1, but I got a problem because there's nothing right here. Thankfully I can just stick in a 1, because if I'm multiplying by 1 nothing changes, and that'll hang out. And I want to make sure I still have my 5a squared out front. And now I can keep my 5a squared still, and I have my 3a plus 1 and my 3b minus 1. And just like that, I have everything I need. It's all factored, good to go. So this is essentially the trick, is we're going to look for things that have similar factors that we can factor out. We're going to try to find a similar end of the parentheses after we factor them out, and then we can group them together into our new factor. But I'm really hoping that some of us noticed here that there is a different way we could have grouped these. If not, don't worry about it, it's not too bad. But we're going to work to see if we can't group them a bit of a different way. So I had 5a squared times 9ab minus 3a plus 3b minus 1. And if I rearranged this middle part here, I could have had 9ab plus 3b minus 3a minus 1. and then I could have grouped them like that. So now what I can do is I can take out a 3b from this first one, 3b, times what I have left is going to be 3a plus 1, and I can take out negative 1 from both of these terms, so I'd have minus 1 times, I have 3a plus 1. And even though now I have 3a plus 1 as my common thing instead of 3b minus 1, it's still going to work out, because what I have left on the outside is 3b minus 1 times 3a plus 1, and I got my 5a squared from there that I'm going to bring down. And I end up with this exact same answer, maybe just with these two terms flipped around, which is a-okay. So I'm hoping that we got most of that. I will see you in class tomorrow, and I hope you have a great day.